Hey, it's Mom Stylist. It's very late at night, that's why I don't have my makeup on, but I wanted to do a quick tutorial on just some basic curling tips. I know I have been asked by a lot of my guests, how do you curl your hair? So here is just a basic breakdown. I'm not going to be curling my whole hair, but I want to show you some different sizes of curling irons and some different techniques of wrapping the hair to get the look that you're looking for. I would like to start out actually with the largest size. This would be a 1 1/4. Honestly, a 1 1/4 to a 1 1/2 is similar size. So what you want to do is just take your section of hair. I recommend not taking a huge chunk because what happens is the middle part of the hair does not get heated fully. So when the curl comes out, you have like a curl, but then the middle just hangs down and it goes straight. So I usually do about 1 inch to 1.5 inch chunk. When you are curling your whole entire head, I recommend doing it in sections. Do the back section underneath, the middle section, the side, and the top. It's a lot easier to get to it. So here would be a 1 1/4. So what I do is I put it in at the root. I start turning it. While I'm turning it, I'm gently opening the spring on the curling iron. Now, depending on what kind of look you're going for, you might want to leave a few of the end, like the end out, the last inch. But I'm just going to go ahead and wrap the whole thing. Here is a great hot tip. You keep your hair in the curling iron for as long as you can stand to touch the hair. Once the hair is too hot to touch, you need to remove the curling iron. Everybody's hair texture will be different. So here is a 1 1/4 inch curl that started at the root. I have very fine hair, but a lot of it, so my hair probably in 2 hours, this would look just almost straight and flipped at the ends. But I just wanted to give you an idea of what it looks like to do that technique with a 1 1/4. Let's move on to a 1 inch curling iron. This is going to be your pretty standard size of curling iron. Even with long hair, I like to use this size just because it just gives that nice barreled look, but also it's not super tight, but it holds it enough. So I'm going to go on this side. So again, I'm taking, about a 1 inch section of hair to a 1 1/2. I'm going to go in at the root. While it clamps, then you start opening the clamp as you're turning the curling iron, okay? So I'm always gently opening the clamp just a little bit while I'm turning my curling iron. Again, you're going to hold it in your hair for as long as you can stand to touch the hair. When the hair is too hot is when you release the hair. So you can see the difference. I mean, it's a pretty significant difference, and I think the biggest difference you're going to see is the way it lays at the root. Like this one is a little bit straighter and smoother, where this one is a little bit tighter. If you were to take these two curls and kind of rake them out, you can see, I mean, you can get it a little bit looser. This just kind of turns into like just a pretty loose wave, kind of mimicking a flat iron. So I'm going to go down to a 3/4. Now, a 3/4 really probably wouldn't be used for the typical barrel curl unless your hair was like a shorter bob or short hair, just because it is a lot tighter of a curl. So I'm just going to show really quickly in a section of hair what this would look like realistically if you did it as a barrel curl. So again, opening the spring, continue to roll all the way through. I'm going to go through my ends. I'm going to hold it in as long as I can touch it. I leave my curling irons pretty hot. I don't see the need of turning it down. I don't really have damaged hair. I could see if you had damaged hair turning it down, but just get the job done. so it's almost too hot to touch. I'm going to go through and let it out, and you can see just laying up against the 1 inch even how much more it springs up. So raking this one out, it's a really tight curl, and I like to use my 3/4 inch underneath on the underneath section because that tends to sweat or it gets caught in the collar and it kind of falls down, and then on the rest I'll do the 1 inch, or vice versa. If I want to do a looser curl on top, then I'll do the 1 inch underneath and the 1 1/4 on top. Now I would like to discuss a really quick way to use a spring curling iron as a wand, and that is typically going to be used with a smaller iron, like a 3/4 does a really great job. A 1 inch is okay, but I really like to use a 3/4. So here's a technique. The bigger the section of hair that you're going to grab is the looser and messier, beachier look. I'm going to grab a small section so you can see, and then a big section. I still open with the spring to do a wand look just because I'm a perfectionist and I don't like the crease look from the spring. So I just hold it open the whole entire time. But I just take it and I just wrap it around. Now this gives you a very spirally curl. Depending on if you leave the ends out or not is how loose it'll look. But I wrapped most of the ends. This is hard to tell when it's too hot. So you can see that gives a very different look. It just memorizes the S. Where when you take the curl through like on a barrel curl, it's kind of smoothing it a little bit, where this is very springy. Now what's fun about this, and I have done a previous tutorial on the messy undone look, is you can just take a bigger section, just roll it at the root, and then I'm going to leave like the last inch, 1.5 inches out. Check your curl, see if it's done. Okay, so then when I release this one, you can see it has left the ends straight. And it's a super cute look. It's a very messier, beachier look, and then that's when you can come in and use like a texture spray to kind of rake it up. And that is done with a 3/4 iron. A really quick tip with your bangs when you want to wear your hair curled. Let's say I was doing the whole section of my head or my whole head with a 1 inch. If you want to take your bangs and kind of incorporate it into it, if you wear a sweep, what I do is I gently kind of just roll it through. And what that does is it gives just like a quick bend to the hair. Obviously, I did a little too much right here. You can even do it with your flat iron. We can see when it gives that swoop motion, what happens is it's able to go into the curl, and it just looks so much more natural than having a straight bang. So I really recommend trying to incorporate that. That is just a very basic tutorial on different sizes of curling irons and the 2 different ways you can do it. Either as a barrel using the spring when you roll it through, a little bit smoother, springy look, or a very kind of like a more memorized S wave when you use it as a wand. I really hope that these tips help, and I look forward to doing more tutorials.